Hey guys, still here and welcome back to Stormworks. We have a new mission. We need to find a trapped research vessel. Bring back the guys who are on the research vessel, and because the game or the mission is not picky, we're also going to have to bring back their vessel. Now, this mission is far away. These guys are 15 clicks away from the main base. Of course, I could take a ship there. I could just go to my shipyard section, go with a boat, sail all the way out there. Go get the research scientists and get all the way back here. Not the most interesting of missions. So I want to try something else. I want to build a helicopter that can do that. This is going to be a pretty large project. Mostly because I'm going to have to find a good mix between lifting power. So on the one hand, I probably need 2 rotors powered by 2 engines. On the other hand, I need to make sure that it still has the fuel economy to actually get out there and get to the point, pick up the boat, which is definitely going to increase the amount of power that the helicopter will need, and then get all the way back. So this is going to be probably a multi-episode recording, just to try and fit in the way that this helicopter is going to work. Now, by elevating this part, I should be able to build, well, maybe something that resembles a Chinook. So this would be the top of the helicopter. I think that could, yeah, that could work. Okay. Normally I start at the bottom of a helicopter, but this time I'm going to start pretty much at the top, just to see if I can make this work. And just to see if I can fit 2 rotor blades on. And you can, if you do it like this. Of course, there are many other ways. Stormworks can be a lot like playing with Legos and just trying to see which one you can fit in where. Let's put the gyro in. It's only going to be 1 gyro for 2 helos, or for 2 rotors. So hooking these things up is going to take a lot of experimentation. Because I believe that rotors on a Chinook are counter-rotating. Which means you got 2 rotors, which are spinning in opposite directions and acting as a balancing force. Which a normal helicopter, of course, does with a tail rotor. And the tail rotor makes sure that the helicopter doesn't spin out of control. Let's encapsulate this thing. Now, for those of you who are very observant about my version number, I'm on 0724. The reason that I have not yet upgraded to the new version, which came out yesterday, which is, I believe, version 8.2, is because I have seen quite a lot of reports that the version is, at the moment, very unstable, and that it crashes a lot. I don't want that. I don't need a lot of crashes, actually. So I've decided to, for the moment, remain with the standard version. Because my game was running smoothly most of the time. Sure, if I call in very large creations, it is going to start lagging. But overall, I found the performance to be quite good. And version 8.2 does give you a lot of performance bonuses. From what I gathered from the patch notes, they have split the way that the game is now processed. So normally you had 1 thread and all the processing, so all the logic, everything was done through that 1 thread. The problem with that is that while it does work, you are also creating a massive bottleneck. And that's exactly what you saw happening with Stormworks. If you called in a larger creation, the thing started to lag like hell. Right now, it shouldn't be doing that anymore. At least, that's the plan. But apparently, and it is an experimental version, they have mentioned this. Apparently right now it is not very stable. So that's the reason that I am currently not using that version. Now, if either of these engines fails on this helicopter, I'm going to have a hell of a problem. So let's hope that that never happens. Because if it does, then the helicopter is basically going belly up. It won't survive that. I might be able to fit a couple of radiators on here. Just below the rotor blades. One for one engine and one for the other. Now I did put up these sections over here, but mostly so that I could mount the engine on it. Not really any aesthetic purposes. And yeah, I think I'm going to go for a sort of side mounting to make sure that the engine doesn't fall out of the helo. And with this I can still run the pipes pretty close there. Okay, coolant in. We're going to go over there. And you're going to go over here, up. Straight pipes. Done. Now over here I am looking at the gyro. So I'm going to have to make sure that the pipes don't get too close. So this is going to probably be a bit of empty space in the helicopter. A couple of pipes up there. And we're going to pipe some stuff up there. And connect it all together. Okay, so now we have coolant for the helicopter. In these two radiators all the way up there. We do need to add a few more pipes. Exhaust, fuel, and air intake. Air intake is something else that I might be able to fit in here. Let's see if I go for a couple of ports. And you don't need more than one port. You absolutely do not need more than one port, but I generally like the look of it. So that's the reason that I am going for something like this. Can I fit something in there? Afraid not. But I could fit it in there. Okay, now I might need to turn off symmetry mode. Because I think... Actually, no. For air intake, it does work. If you're starting to work with fuel, then you're going to have to work with something else. Okay, these go here. These pipe down. This one goes over here. Splits off into two sections. And then we get the pipes going there. So that's my air intake. The same can be done here. I'm still waiting for them to add another section of pipe, which is I think it's an X section or a cross section, which allows you to quickly hook up all of these. At the moment, I don't have any of those. So that's why I'm stuck with building a creation like this. Otherwise, you could just go for a curve like that, a curve the other way, an X section there, and one straight pipe going down. It's not a disaster or anything, but it would make piping quite a bit easier, especially on larger creations. Okay, so that is my intake air. Now I need an exhaust. And I think I'm going to just expel the exhaust out the side of the helicopter to make sure that I don't really have too much to deal with. Exhaust over there. And the other one, is that this one? No, that's fuel. Oh, this engine is set up in reverse. Or in mirror mode, rather. Okay, exhausts on two sides, but I want to pipe both of these engines into one exhaust. Let's see, I could mount the engine again, but as a copy. Let's see, over here, fuel, exhaust. Yeah, this is what I wanted, because now the exhaust is on the other side. So now what I can do is pipe this thing to the side. And pipe it all the way back through a straight line. Like that. And I can hook this thing in. There's going to be a T-piece. This thing is going to be an angle. And now I have a way of getting rid of my exhaust. I do want to split those out on both sides. So I'm going to go into the helicopter. Go over there. Get a T-piece. Get a straight pipe. And then get a couple of ports. One on the left, one on the right. So that's the exhaust. No, I want that a bit higher. This is fairly low on the helicopter. If I do go with the ports up high, I would need to adjust the piping a little bit. Let's go for mirror mode this time around. Now, piping these things together, I think this, no, not this way, hang on. One here, one here, straight pipes to there, eventually, like that, and then this pipe is going to come up, so at an angle, go with a straight pipe because this is internal. Pipe angle, one T-piece, and one other pipe. Okay, so now I have my exhausts all the way in the back of the helicopter. Now, fuel tanks. I don't think that I have a fluid spawner yet. No, I have a fluid meter, but not a fluid spawner. So I am going to go with fuel tanks. Unfortunately, I don't really like fuel tanks because you're going to have to pipe them all together instead of having one big fuel tank. But at the moment, I don't really have a lot of options. So it's going to have to be fuel tanks. Let's see. Close this thing up a little. Yeah, not bad. This is the drive section of the helicopter. This is the part that's going to make it fly. I will, however, need to get access to the engines to add the fuel pipe, which I think is down here. Yep, that's the fuel port. There. Now, where do I add fuel? Where do I add a lot of fuel? Because this helicopter is going to need to go long distance. And for that, it's going to need a lot of fuel. It's going to be capable of lifting very, very heavy lifts. Very heavy loads. So I'm thinking of just adding the fuel tanks into the side of the helo. And with that, making sure that I spread out my weight a little bit as well. Fuel tank. Do I want them on the top of the helicopter or the bottom? I could go with these things on the top, but that would make the thing top heavy. So no, I'm going to put the fuel tanks slightly further down into the bottom of the helo. If I want to close this thing up, I'm going to have to adjust some things. So pipe angle here. Pipe angle there. This thing will need to get removed. And the same thing goes over here. One there. One there. These are angles which are going up. And this is a T-piece. Let's see, that came from over there. Like that. And one more angle. Over here. Okay, now the fuel. We're going to be piping that down. Because what I want to do is just close off this section of the helo. Mostly, that is. And I know that does add a bit more weight because I'm adding more blocks. But I don't really mind that. That's fine. That doesn't have a purpose. Okay. Let's see if I remove some pipes over here. Don't interfere with anything too critical. That's the exterior of the helo. Straight pipe. One there. One here. Angle. One over there and one over there. One here and one here. Straight pipe. Straight pipe. If I do it like this, then I can have the fuel tanks down the bottom of the helo. So I can now get mirror mode back in. I still need to set up a cockpit. Maybe I need to go for the helo, which is one wider. So just add another section. This is going to be a hell of a heavy thing to lift, though. Jesus. It's going to be quite the experiment to see if this thing will fly. Because it's going to be a very, very heavy helo. And I'm not even taxing it yet, because I'm only going to ask it to lift off. That is something that I kind of want to still do this episode, so I'm going to have to speed this thing along. And just go for a detailed, developed cockpit later. Okay, so that's the drive section done. Now for the cockpit. How do I want to set that up? Windows. Ah, yes. The game's going to be like that again. Window. I need to go down one more. This time around, I think I can use the corner. No, not yet. Now I can get rid of these blocks. With these angles over here, it's going to be pretty hard to set up a cockpit like that, I'm afraid. Yeah, I need to extend the cockpit one block more. Then I can neatly fit it in. Otherwise, it probably won't fit. And that means that these blocks can now go. Although not all of them. I might need to fit a narrow window here. Like that. And then over there, maybe one of those 1 by 1. No, it's not a pyramid. I don't even know if the game has a tile that I need. I don't think it does, actually. Nope, it doesn't. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate, because I really don't want to have that part sticking out like that. Okay, alternate design. If we go like this, we get a few more options. But then I really don't like how it's looking. Cockpit design is something you can spend very, very much time at. Just trying to get this thing to look right. And have it look the way that you want it to. Oh, that is such a time sink. Or can be, depending on how picky you are. Okay, so now I need to have a narrow window here. And then, can I fit in a large angled? Is the helo not wide enough for that? It's not wide enough for that. Okay. In that case, I'm going to go for a couple of these. It is going to be a one-man flying machine. At least in the sense that I won't have a co-pilot. So that means that I can get away with just fitting in one seat here. And I can always get in another, let's say, operator seat for further equipment somewhere else in the helicopter. Because this thing will have plenty of room. Okay, so that's the base setup. Now let's go for a couple of dials and displays. They won't actually do anything yet, but they're more there for just future use. Do I have a horizon yet? I don't have a horizon unlocked yet. Okay. Okay. What then? I don't know. Another dial, I guess. Indicating whether we're going up or down. I can close this off. I can try to fit this in here. Pull these things back a little bit. Go for another window. This one's going to be a narrow window going up. So from this you can see quite a lot if you're in here. Currently that also has to do with the fact that there's no floor. That, I imagine, kind of does help. If you want to call it that. And I want to see if I can fit in a couple of corner windows over here. How do I fit these things in? Now, it's not like I will be flying this thing in first-person view whatsoever. But it's mostly that I want to have the capability of looking downwards. Because, of course, I'm going to be picking up stuff. I'm going to be working with loads. So we're going for not an all-glass cockpit, but definitely for quite a lot of visibility. Let's see, if I make this the seat. I'm going to have to make sure that the seat sort of sinks in. Like that. Now I can take this off. I could even make this part glass. I think that if I spawn it in like now, it's going to tip over. But let's see. Yeah. Okay, so that doesn't quite work. So, if I give it more of a platform to sit on, then it might not roll over. There we go. So you're sitting in your cockpit, you can see down, you can see up. Of course, you're going to be pitching the helicopter forward to make sure that you can still get visual through the windshield. Yeah, I'm going to go for more of a glass cockpit over here. I like this. Alright, but as I mentioned, this is going to be part of a multi-series design, or a multi-episode design. So, this is going to be continuing in the next episode. Because while I do want to get it flying, I also want to make sure that this thing does look pretty good. So, join me next time. That is next week, as we're going to be continuing the design of the, let's call it the big bird, as opposed to the little bird, and get to actually seeing if this thing flies. For now, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and join me next time, because there's a lot more to be done about this helicopter. See you then.